Inside my DNA, I got loyalty inside my DNA. I got loyalty, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got power, poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA. I was born like this and born like this. Immaculate conception. I transform like this, perform like this. What shouts you a new weapon? I don't contemplate, I meditate. Then off your plate. This that book against the bed. This that I got loyalty. I got loyalty inside my DNA.
Hello and welcome. We got another episode of Tiger Vision. We are Duval. We are live here on set with Coach Huff. Coach, it's been a while.
It's been a long season, right?
Had the ups and downs of the season. Had the SIAC tournament, which guys fought valiantly. Anytime there's not a ring, it doesn't end the way we want it to end, but
right.
A lot to be proud of on the year, Coach. Wanted to toss it over to you early, Coach, just on some thoughts as we recap a great year. You guys were able to accomplish a lot.
Just really proud of how these young men grew as the season went along. I mean, I think if anybody saw us early on, they probably thought, man, this is going to be a long year. But it was just a group of guys coming together, learning each other from myself to our staff. I mean, everybody was new, basically, and learning each other and understanding what it took to win. And we were able to accomplish some great things, some firsts in this program, whether it's, more wins than they had last year, more conference wins ever in the D2 era of this program. Getting to the quarterfinals of the conference tournament with a chance to win in that game, taking down nationally ranked schools when we were able to beat Benedict or schools in the top of our conference, Morehouse or take away about 30 seconds of both games combined, and we beat the SIAC champion, Clark Atlanta Panthers both times. And that's no disrespect to any of those teams that I'm talking about. Just talking about how well our guys played at different moments. And, being a young team, there were some times we went through some stretches, whether it was in games or, on the road where we didn't play as well as we needed to. We lost 6 conference games by a total of 14 points. But overall, I think it was the start of something special for us, of what we are building here at EWU and what we can become. And these young men know what it takes. I think that taste of how close we were in some games, you flip those 6 games, and now we're in a different position going into the conference tournament. But even how we played in the conference tournament and understanding how close we were to getting to the next round and how close we were knowing we had beat a bunch of the teams that were still playing. I think that's the thing that we take from this entire season. And we talked about 4 things in our end of season meeting as a team. We talked about leadership. I think with a young team, we got to continue to grow and build leadership, player-led leadership. Attention to detail. When you're a young team, you got to understand that any lack of attention to detail at any moment can cost you a game. Improvement. We've got to get better. And I told them that's not me just telling them they've got to get better. I've got to get back in the grind. And how can I get this team better? How can I be better? And my staff as well. So those are the things that we talked about. And then continuing our path of excellence when it comes to academics.
I would agree, Coach. Definitely a lot to be proud of. You saw a lot of players grow, roles change, system evolved throughout the season. And we'll get into some of the players and, of course, the academic accolades, because a lot of times in this whole thing, we forget about that. And it's not discussed in the coaching carousel. We'll get to that as well.
Right.
It's not discussed often. What we're really here for and what college basketball was all about was about creating great student athletes. A lot of times we forget that, but we'll circle back to that right there. But one of the things that I wanted to touch base with you on too is, Coach, nobody ever asks questions about the leader or checks in on the leader. There was a lot of new things thrown at these players, but also you've coached at a lot of levels.
Mm-hmm.
But this specific league, the SIAC, is special, and this was your first season coaching in this league. Played for Morehouse, but this is your first season coaching in this league. What are some things that you took away from being able to coach in a league this special?
I mean, I said it coming into the league, but when you're playing in it, you realize how doggone good these teams are from top to bottom. The level of players, the level of coaching. And then you realize the amount of time you have to put in, but also having to manage that time because, just for us, for instance, you come off of the break, the mandated NCAA break for Division II, and we've got to immediately go on the road to Tennessee, which is one of the toughest road trips in the SIAC. And we were able to sustain that. But then you talk about we had a stretch. I believe you did the game, the home game, Savannah State, or I can't remember when it was, but we had like 5 games in 13 days or something. Like those things, you've got to manage those things. And those are the things that you learn in year one and things you can get better at. And I think that's what my staff and I learned together throughout this entire season.
Absolutely. A lot of great players, a lot of great coaches. Like you said, those road trips are definitely tough. And it just so happened that you were in the East. In the East.
They call it the gauntlet for a reason.
No easy wins in the SIAC East. It was the AFC North of conferences. It was the black and blue division is what we call it.
6 teams on the East made it to the quarterfinals out of 8. And we happen to be one of them. So it just kind of showed you how tough our side was on any given night. And that's no disrespect to the West. Like, those are tough teams as well. It was just, I think when you talk about when you split divisions in any conference, it goes in ebbs and flows. And sometimes you get one side that's going to be a little bit better than the other side, but then that can flip the next year or 2 years from now or whatever. And I just think this is one of those years where, as evident with Clark winning the league, the regular season East title, being tied with Morehouse for it, and then winning the tournament. And then Benedict also going to the Division II tournament, but also having, Morehouse with a chance. I'm pretty sure they got mentioned in there. And then Miles on the other side having a chance. So that just lets you know how strong this league is. Now, I don't think people give it enough respect, as a HBCU league, of how tough this league is. You've got, guys that have lots of wins. You've got guys who are former Division I head coaches, former championship coaches at other levels. So it's a doggone great league, man.
A lot of Division I experience from a coaching standpoint in that league as well. Yep. Coach, the season ended in the quarterfinals. You guys faced off against Morehouse. You were 1-1 against Morehouse up until that point. Fantastic victory. You were able to beat them at home. Lost to them on their floor. And the nip and tuck basketball game, the entire game, you guys are right there. Game down to the last, minute 30 seconds or less of the basketball game. You guys are right there. What is your message to the team, and what is your message to the to your staff and even to the fans after the season ending the way that it ended?
To the staff and the players, it was just remember this feeling and understand why, as we talked about earlier, every detail matters. Because a lot of times people look at the last minute or last 30 seconds of a game of why, maybe you did not win that game, but you maybe didn't win it in the first minute of the game, where you may have gotten down early. And I think, those are things that could pay dividends for our staff and our players to understand that. For our fans, man, I think they roll with us thick and thin, man. I think they saw the energy that we brought every night. I don't think anybody could say after watching us that our guys weren't playing hard and giving it everything they had. Maybe we didn't make shots that night. Maybe we didn't do everything right, but we left it on the floor 9 times out of 10 every night. And I think that's what the fans can get used to, seeing that energy we're going to bring every night, and we're just going to get better so we can have more nights like the Morehouse game at home or the Benedict game at home, or that atmosphere that we felt even though we lost at the buzzer at Clark Atlanta. Having those moments like that, we can have more of those. And I just want them to just stay behind us, man. This is a young team, only one senior. So getting a chance to have a lot of those guys coming back is going to be great. You go back to that Morehouse game and, everything was even. Everything on that stat sheet was even. They just happened to get to the free throw line just a tad bit more than us.
A tad? 30 more free throws than you guys shot in that game.
But that's the way it goes sometimes. And we played that game without our leading scorer, Goliath Mitchell. He tried to play through an injury. Not going to say that changed the outcome, but that definitely impacted us. And then Amari Floyd, that was his first game back. He hadn't played basically the whole tournament from an injury he sustained in the last regular season game, and he gutted it out for us just to play so we could have somebody else. That just kind of shows, what this team is about, the heart that we had to put out there. We had to, go with guys who maybe hadn't played as much minutes before, playing guys longer minutes, and guys stepped up and really did that job and put us gave us an opportunity to win that game.
Man, right there, heartbreaker. Because my Louisville Cardinals weren't doing well, I could invest all of my basketball energy in Edward Waters. It was great to do, but you guys fought to the very end. Coach, we talked about teams going on to the tournament, and we have the March Madness, got the NCAA tournament going on right now. So appreciate everybody logged in with us, taking a quick break and joining in with us today. But Coach, one of the things that has rocked the basketball world so far is the transfer portal.
Yeah.
The portal opened, if I'm not mistaken, officially for Division I on Monday, right?
Yeah.
And we're between Division I and Division II, we're close to 2,000 kids.
Somewhere near. It's a lot. That was at 12 a.m. this morning, so who knows what it's going to be tomorrow. I think there are a lot of ways to look at this. And I do think sometimes, we as coaches make mistakes, players make mistakes in choosing where they want to go. Maybe we weren't the right fit for a kid. So I do understand the portal being open for that. But I do think there are a lot of people that just think because you go in the portal, somebody's going to pick you up. And I think that's not the case. It's not just about your basketball acumen. You've got to be a fit for wherever you're trying to go. And academically, you have to be a fit. Like sometimes people are getting advice to jump in the portal, and they don't understand academically where you have to be for someone to pick you up. Whether you're talking about NAI or Division III, 2, or 1. Or if you played too many years at a place, you can't drop down and go back JUCO. Just getting the right information from the right people to know what you should do in your situation. And I think it's it's hurt. And we're just being honest, high school kids, like a high school kid right now is probably in trouble if they're really looking and they have either passed on an offer or don't have an offer. It's going to be tough for them right now. And NCAA changing the live period doesn't help them. The live period being pushed back to May. Once May hits, most colleges, unless there's a new coach, are not looking for guys or especially freshmen, to be honest with you. And I understand, because this is the way it used to go, why, unsigned seniors were playing AAU in March and April. But like, if your dream is to go Division I, then you're playing unsigned. That Division I can't be out to May. So other than a write-up that you're hoping that they haven't, they're not going to see you. And you got to ask yourself, well, how many of those Division IIs or NAIs are going to be out to watch you? Are they already gone and looking at 2025s? How much time are they spending in the portal or looking at JUCO guys? And we got to re-recruit our guys. To be honest with you, every coach at every level has to re-recruit their guys. That's why the portal's also jumping. Like, if you're not re-recruiting your guys every year, like, they could be in the portal too. So it's hurting the high school guys. It's hurting the JUCO guys because now that's trickled down. But this usually be the time the JUCO guys were popping, like, boom. Yeah. But it's the portal time now. Whether you like it or you don't like it, like they are watching. I can't mess with Matlock right now. They are watching, that portal, and it's trickled down to coaching. And what I mean by that is that, back in the day, I can't remember the exact numbers, but there were 3 coaches, Coach K, Jay Wright, and I can't think of the other coach, and they put their first 3-year numbers up, conference records up.
I saw that.
And unfortunately, right now, if that would have happened right now, they may not have a job. Because of the portal, everyone wants a quick fix, and they think you can get a quick fix just because you can go find a new team quickly. And sometimes that's not the case, man. You got to make sure they're the right fit. But what I would tell these high school and JUCO guys, or even the kids in the portal, just do your homework and make sure you're the right fit. Doesn't make sure it's going to always be right. But just continue to do what you got to do your homework. Because even if it's not the right fit, at least you went somewhere where that coach is going to respect you and try to help you if you have to get in the portal. That's the one thing that I'll say. And I know the question may come up, well, how do you do it, or how do we do it at EWU? We go through all avenues. We still look for high school guys. We want high school guys. We're going to look at JUCO guys. We may, have some relationship with guys in the portal. We won't be a team that just goes and does all portal stuff. That won't be us. So we're going to always have a mixture, but it's more important of how can we get our guys better as well. So all 4 of those things have to come in impact when we're talking about at EWU.
Coach, do you know of any solutions? I've been having conversations about possible solutions with the portal. Do you believe that whether it's you can't stop an adult from making a bad choice. And I don't believe that things should be put in place to prohibit people from making a bad choice, because what we deem to be a bad choice may not be a bad choice to that individual. So I believe there should be freedom. But should there be some advisement on, like you said, hey, you don't have the required hours, so here are the levels that you're eligible for, as that kid is getting in the portal, so that they have some kind of conversation of, oh, by the way, right, based on your hours, based on your GPA, here's what you qualify for, because that's pretty much standard, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
To say, This doesn't stop you from getting in the portal. You can still go, but here's what you're available for. You cannot go JUCO. Here's, you don't have the hours necessarily to go D1. Here is your options, right?
I think there has to be those conversations. And I guess it has to start with us as coaches, man. Like, if we're truly in this for the right thing, we got to have those conversations. Whether we think that young man or young woman can continue to help our program or not, or whether we don't like that they came in and said they want to get in the portal and maybe they were our best player. I don't like, we've got to make sure we're telling them the right things, because let's take it even further. Like, if our job really is more than basketball, which it should be as a coach, then it's about graduating these young men and women, right? So you got to be honest with this kid. Like, listen, I'm not telling you not to jump in the portal, right? I'm not trying to tell you to stay here. But understand, you better ask the question of wherever you're going, how many of my credits are transferring, especially if you are a junior. Especially if you're a junior.
My thought is, and I wonder why, and I think back to my AAU coaching days. There is a website that I do not like, but there is a website where you register for live period as a player.
Mm-hmm.
And you register, and it checks your eligibility based on where you live, your report card. You got to put all that stuff in, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why the NCAA wouldn't build the same process around the portal so that a player kind of knows their eligibility status as they get into the portal and as they're gauging offers, right? If you get an offer from this school, how many of your credits are going to transfer over?
I can answer that one. That's too much work. No disrespect.
Oh, man.
Because every school is different on what classes they're going to allow to transfer in.
Right.
So I think that's going to hold you up when it comes to that. But any coach knows what it's going to take, like at what level. Like, they know, hey, you got to have this GPA, you got to have this many hours, you got to have this. And that's if they transfer. Let's just use a school that's a Bible-based school that maybe you were at a school that made you take Bible classes. Well, those classes work at that school. But if you go to a school that's not a Bible-based school, then you're probably going to lose some credits.
Yeah. Transfer from a liberal arts school to a technology school, you're going to lose a lot of credits.
So I just think it's those things in it. And if we go back to the portal, I think another thing that has changed it a little bit, unfortunately, is NIL. Like, for whatever reason, there are a lot of kids who jump in the portal because they want NIL money. But everybody doesn't get NIL money.
Everybody that's promised NIL money
doesn't get NIL money. And until that is understood, then I think you're going to continue to have some issues. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be NIL. But I think that also plays a part. But if we come back to what we can do, we've just got to adapt, man. We've got to adapt. And this is why, as parents, players, coaches, we got to do a better job of educating our young men and women, whether they're leaving, whether, we want them to leave or ask them to leave, whether they want to leave, whatever the case may be. We've just got to do a better job of educating them to the best of our knowledge. And hopefully they have the right circle of trust around them that's going to say, young man, young woman, you need to stay put. Or, maybe you aren't a Division I player. Maybe you need to drop down a level.
I'm for more, when in doubt, I am for more transparency. And that is just the way I believe. And I think with this process, maybe we can have some of those more real conversations like what you're talking about if there was more transparency in the process.
Right.
I've had some schools tell me that they had NIL and throw some numbers at me of schools that I would never in a million years believe had that much money to pay a player. I'll never forget. I had a school, they're playing in the NCAA tournament right now. I won't say which one, but tell me, yeah, I'm looking for a point guard. And I was like, okay, cool. yeah, you probably can't get this kid. He's gonna be looking for it now. Oh, well, we got 50,000. It's a small school, like to my thinking, right? But
Right.
I think it because essentially what we've created is free agency in college sports, right? NIL being the salary cap. I think it should be posted what every team has and what every kid is getting.
Hadn't thought of it that way, but that's a good barometer.
It should be official numbers because then kids are not jumping in on the hope that they have in that someone can pick them up with NIL money. You can look at the roster and see how much this school has left on their salary cap, right? And then you know what you're shooting for, right? You know, oh, well, this school doesn't have any more money. They used up all their cap money. They don't have any more, right? Like,
yeah.
It more transparency because now I don't know who has what, right? They made an announcement at Louisville that we have a little over $4 million. I don't know if that's true. I don't know. Like, I have no idea where that money comes from. I'm a Louisville fan through and through, but there's no transparency on where that money comes from, who has it, what players get what amount of money. We just know that we have it, right? Or we know that we say that we have it. By the way, if anybody's watching the show that would love to sponsor NIL at Edward Waters,
every athletic program would be happy to have you.
To accommodate you here. Just drop your NIL.
That's good. That's good right there. That's good.
Drop your NIL. Stop what you're doing right now. Grab your phone. And if you are furious that Edward Waters does not have NIL, use this code, scan it on your phone, and give. And you can be the one that makes it happen. If you'd like to go and create and start the collective, we're more than willing to have that conversation as well. It should happen. But
they may need to hire you.
Listen, coach, and I may be available, but but no, we talked about what this thing is really about, and it's the thing that we don't talk about anymore, and that is graduating student athletes. I feel like we do not even talk like transparency again. We have no idea who is performing well in the classroom anymore at all. It's not mentioned with coaches. I remember once upon a time we talked about the guys who graduated players and guys who didn't graduate players, and that conversation is now gone. Coach, I want to put this up on the screen and just have you talk about, how proud you are of this achievement, because I know that's the case for you.
I mean, that's one of our benchmarks, man. They know just as much as we want to win on the court, we want to win in the classroom. So having these numbers right here are really important for us. And as I said, when we had our end of season meeting as a team, we talked about making sure that we kept the bar high, even higher when we finished this spring semester. We knew we were on the road a lot spring semester, so a lot of guys are, making sure that they're still holding the bar high. And the quickest way, if we go back to that portal thing, to make yourself not be attractive to your current place or even a new place, is by not being eligible or not having the right kind of grades. And so we want to make sure that we put our young men in our program in position to be successful in life. And that's through having that paper, by walking across that stage and graduating. I had a conversation with a young man on our team today and just told him, I said, the most important thing is for you to graduate. Right. And we weren't talking about him leaving or anything. It was like, the most important thing for you to do is graduate. Like, I don't care if us winning a championship or you scored 25, 35, when your mom's going to be the most happiest? When you walk across that stage holding your diploma.
Absolutely.
Because I know how my parents were when I walked across that stage. And I was a first-generation graduate. when I graduated at Morehouse College, and I know how it made them feel and the work they put in. But as Coach Reedy said, we talk about academics, and because of the portal and everything that's going on, you know, there's no APR. When I worked at Alcorn State, the year we got there, we were APR. I forgot what they called it. We had some APR limits because of walking in previously. People weren't graduating, so that meant we could only recruit high school guys that had certain GPAs, JUCO guys that had certain GPAs, and we had, you know, they docked us about practice time. We couldn't practice the same amount of practice time. And all that just kind of went away because you have the unlimited transfers, you have all of this. And, you know, there's been talk of the NCAA trying to bring it back, but you can't bring that back if you're allowing people to transfer all the time. Because if a guy can go 1 year here, 1 year there, 1 year there, I mean, that's going to be very hard for him to graduate in even 5 years, right? So it's going to be hard to bring APR back or to hold people accountable. So it kind of depends on that coach's staff, that administration. What do they value in their program?
It's going to come down to the thing you said earlier too, Huff, and that's parents being parents.
Yeah.
One of the things that I learned from you early on, I think at this point you were still a high school coach, is you talk about people focusing on the next 4 years of their life and not the next 40 years of their life. And I'm not hearing any conversations with this portal stuff about guys changing their major, or does the next school that you go to even have your major or your transfer? I don't hear anything about that. All I hear is portal, NIL, high major. He's moving up. It's like, you know.
I just think about, and I can only use me as an example, right? And this is no knock against anybody else, but like, I know and I value what my diploma says, right? I know there are doors I can get in because of where I graduated from, right? That's a brotherhood amongst itself when you graduate from Morehouse. There are guys who bleed EWU through and through, but they graduated from Morehouse, and they'll let you know that, right? So you look at your Harvards or your Yales or Princetons, and there are times I go, do you know when you walk out the door of Harvard, the amount of money you're going to make 9 times out of 10?
Yes.
With that degree. But I think sometimes we got to look past basketball. We've got to look past basketball because I know everybody talks about it and they say it, that ball's going to stop bouncing one day. And when it stops bouncing, what do you have left to show for it? Right? And I think we lose sight of that sometimes, even as coaches. Like, and we never want to be the program that uses kids to use them up, and then when we can't use them anymore, then we just throw them away. We want to make sure that they're going to get something productive out of their time in Jacksonville, on Kings Road at Edward Waters University. Are we using basketball to make sure it's a reflection of life? Are they graduating? And can we help them understand what it's like to be a man? That's our job in our program. And I'm not going to say we're going to always get it right, because we all mess up. But that's our job, and that's what we're going to try to do every day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You mentioned the alumni there at Edward Waters. We got a alumni weekend coming up at EWU.
And that coincides with the spring football game. So alumni come out. I mean, I'm sure these events are posted somewhere online or on the school's website, but I know they have a lot of stuff going on, which includes that spring football game on that Saturday. So our team will be out and about, helping with festivities. So come out and support. I know it's a big time every year. You know, you have homecoming, you have alumni weekend. Those are 2 big times at EWU.
Hey, man, I see y'all having a fish fry on here, Huff. Y'all know how to get me in Jacksonville, don't you, man? That's crazy that y'all do that to me, man. But y'all know how to get me to come down.
Josh, you know what that means. You better call him and send him down there.
know how to get me down there. Coach, you guys have a lot going on campus. You keep a lot going on, but a couple of my favorite things that you guys do, and I don't take it for granted because not every school does it. I think, although I feel like most should, but you guys give opportunities for people to come on campus. I want to talk about, well, we'll go this here first.
So actually, this Saturday, Sunday, we have our spring elite camp, and we're actively still looking for guys for both our teams, our main team as well as our developmental team. And then we also want to put our eyes on, the 25s, the 26s, those guys to get in our gym, our wonderful gym, the Jungle, at Adams Jenkins, see our campus, kind of see how we coach. We don't just say, hey, here's the balls, get to be rolled out and go play. No, we put you through stuff that we would actually do in our practice, put you through stuff where we can see you get better, and then we do allow you to play some so we can see how that translates. And so it's a great opportunity, Saturday and Sunday. Saturday is basically almost full. So if you're still trying to look to come on Saturday, you better hurry up and go ahead and register. It's online, definitely on our social media pages that you can sign up at. Sunday still has some available slots, but it's going to be a great time. We did it twice, right when I got the job, right after we got the job, and then again August, September. But it's just a way for us to put our eyes on people. And what I always tell people, as we go back to playing AAU, right, we don't use it as a money grab. And I'm not discounting what people use their elite camps for. Like, we won't have 200 kids in the gym, like, knowing we can't evaluate 200 kids. We limit our number because we really want to evaluate and really want to see what your young man has to offer. But it's also a way where maybe EWU is not the place for you. Well, my staff and I can get on the phone and say, hey, such and such is pretty good. We may not be in need of a guard, but maybe you are. Just using that as an example.
100%.
If anybody's been to 1 hours, we invite other levels to come, right? To come watch. So there may be another coach in the gym that can recruit your son, your player. So don't sleep on it and say, oh, I'm not going. I'd rather go play AAU. And you may be in a gym with no coach. Or you could be at an elite camp with 10 coaches, 4 on our staff and 6 other ones. I'm just saying.
And Huff may not say this, but I will say I seem to remember a few offers going out at the last elite camp. So, and I seem to remember that also guys from the developmental team were able to work their way into getting a spot.
So we found, to be honest, we found some developmental guys in our elite camps, both of them. And if you paid any attention to us, there probably was a guy in the conference tournament that you were like, I don't remember seeing him all year. And he was a guy that worked his tail off to get moved up. Thomas Fawcett, who's from Orange Park, Florida. So just an example of what can happen. We're not one of those programs that say, come play developmental, and you'll never get watched by the head coach and the staff. Anybody that knows, I probably was at every game the developmental team played. And it's an opportunity, man, for you to get better playing against college-level athletes, right? And shout out to our developmental team that went 11-2 this year.
Thanks, absolutely. You guys did an amazing job. I love that, Huff. I needed to mention it because anybody watching, when they think developmental team, that's what they think. They think, number one, you said they went 11-2. That means they played 13 games, right?
Which is basically half of our regular season. We played 27 regular season games. That's basically half of what we played. So they definitely have an opportunity. And it's not just for us to see them. They play JUCOs. They play, other teams. So they can get seen by some other people too.
They got a real opportunity and a real experience.
They lift, they watch film, they lift, they have practice here. Like it's real now. They just come play the game and then you go back to your dorm room.
For sure. Shout out to Big AJ. They got us in here. The champs over there.
Is that AJ who I think it is? Congratulations, Big AJ. Your son's doing some big things. Elite Eight.
Elite Eight. I'm hoping to make the trip up to Evansville. I'm not sure I'm going to make it, but I'm going to try to make it up to Evansville to come and watch you guys play. So great job, AJ, and North Georgia. So, yeah, but Huff, I think that was important. A lot of people hear developmental team. They don't, want any parts of it. They feel like they're just going to be ignored. You mentioned full schedule, weights, practice, individual development, the actual head coach of the team watching every game, being a part of it, and somebody made their way from the developmental team to the actual varsity roster and played.
Yeah.
So,
in the conference tournament.
In the conference tournament play. So when you talk about somebody wanting to bet on themselves, right? You feel like, hey, I'm gonna bet on myself and go play post grad or something like that. Or you can bet on yourself and go play right in front of a coaching staff with college coaches. You don't have to wonder, like you said, if college coaches are watching you, because you're in the building, in the gym with college coaches watching you every day. And you have an opportunity to bet on yourself that way. That's an amazing thing that you guys did with that developmental team. So shout out to you for that.
Shout out to Coach Smith. He's the head coach of that team. He did a great job.
For sure. Then you have this is one of my favorites, man. I like this. The summer explosion, the ball in Duval, as you would say, Huff. Let's talk about this one.
Oh man, we're excited about the second year of being able to do this, and I think it's big, man. I remember last year we had people that came over to EW and was like, I hadn't been here in 20 years. I didn't know it looked like this over here. This is the first time y'all have had camp in it, and it really has been. And I think we're going to continue to do it, and it's going to be great for us. It is a way to play teams throughout Florida who are going to come up, but also Georgia. Obviously, my connection to Georgia, so they're going to be some Georgia teams who've already signed up, and they get a little taste of some life. They want to come down and see the campus, play some different competition. They get some time to spend on the beach too. So it's a great team. I've been a high school head coach, and that summer ball is a way to help prepare your team and also get some team bonding in. So we're looking forward to any team to come. If you need hotels, we've got some partners that can help you with some great hotel costs. Whether you want to come one day, you want to come both days, you're going to get, refereeing. You're going to get us in the gym watching. It's not, you're going to get shot clock. So they're going to be prepared. Georgia has shot clock. Florida, if you're listening, let's go ahead and move to the new age now. I mean, but I won't go on my rampage on that. But you'll get shot clock games, which help us as college coaches be able to look at your son better and how they are to play when they get to our level. And again, there were offers that came out last year from our explosion. And what we did now is we used to try to move it around those 2 weeks of the live period in June that the NCAA did, and tried to put it on a couple of days before they went out. But this year we said, you know what? Let's make it a real camp experience so they can experience Jacksonville. And so that's why we made it a weekend experience for them. We think they're going to have fun coming to the jungle, being able to see what we have to offer here in Jacksonville. And then, like I said, have some time to have some team bonding if that's what they want to do. So go ahead and sign up so we can get you down.
And make your way over to the Potter's house. I have you a little something.
You might need to call them so they can be a sponsor. You're giving them shout outs and their soul food now.
Listen, I can make some recommendations on the menu. So no, that is a great thing. I love that. Huff, that you guys do. It's two things that I look for in almost any program now: is do you have team camp? Do you have elite camp? It's just vital. Being able to come and watch those every year has been a lot of fun. So we got some shout outs to give. We got to shout out my guy, man.
Oh man, shout out to Coach Reedy who's on. He was recognized by the HBCU All-Stars as Ben Job assistant coach. And so what that meant was that he got his NABC membership and convention registration as a grant recipient for the Final Four. And so that's really big as we head out to the Final Four in a couple of weeks. That allows him to get better at no cost to learn from other coaches and get everything paid for. So had to be, there's only a select group of coaches on that list, and Coach Reedy was one of them. So we're very proud. I'm extremely happy to have, Coach Reedy on staff and what he brought to the table. And as I said, when we put that out, I think other people have to realize how great a coach he is. One of the hardest working dudes I've ever met, even before he got on my staff. Just a dude who gets it done. I call him a get it done kind of dude. And that's not just him. That's him and Coach Britt. And that was a reason why those two guys are on this staff. They're get it done kind of guys. And I wish both of them could have got that recognition, but Coach Reedy was able to get it. And so we're so happy for him. Our school is happy for him. And it's going to be fun times in Phoenix for us getting better.
For sure. That's an important thing for coaches to go to. It's the Final Four. A lot of people don't understand that either.
It's the biggest networking you have in college basketball. Where you can sit down with somebody who you don't know and y'all can just talk hoops. Or they can just tell you about the business if you're a young coach. And yes, there do job stuff pops at the Final Four, but I think that's where relationships start. You can meet people there that now become lifelong, I won't say friends, but lifelong people that you can talk hoops with. And in this business, you can't have enough of them because, what I try to do every offseason is dive into something new. But what can I learn from somebody new, right? Whether it's offensively or defensively. Because you may think going into the year you're going to be one way. And it can change. We changed. And went to pressing, which hadn't done in a while, but we went to it and it paid off for us.
100%. I love it. If you're a coach, you want to be there. If you're AD, you want your coaches and your assistants to be at the Final Four. If you're president, you probably want your AD and your coaches to be at the Final Four. Especially if you need to, like you said, those relationships are important. But also, man, listen, at a smaller school that could use a money game or two, those relationships could come in handy. So you wanna make sure you build great relationships with great people, and you never know.
We can take it further. We've been talking about the portal now. If you got a great relationship with somebody, they can let you know. Listen, such and such is there. I can help you. Whatever the case may be, I'm just saying.
Coach, I got a kid. That's how it goes. So
want to get back closer to home. Oh, okay.
Never know what falls in your lap. So, right. But Coach, I wanted to thank you for giving us the time. We've got the NCAA tournament going on. You guys are in the midst of recruiting battles probably already. But want to appreciate you giving us the time and giving us your thoughts and stuff like that. Make sure to tell all the kids how much I appreciate what they gave on the season. I really enjoyed watching them play, man. It was just a fantastic thing. But also to the staff, everybody at Waters, I no problem telling anybody. Every time I came to visit for a game, it was absolutely first class. From Reedy making sure I got names, pronunciations, all the stats. Reedy took care of me. But everybody, man, Josh, everybody was who's your SID. Everybody was fantastic and pumped up for some Tiger basketball. I can't wait for next season. So.
I mean, we enjoyed having you, man. We appreciate you. Those are some electric games you were able to be at.
Almost walked away without my voice.
Even when we came to Atlanta, you were able to do one of those games, man. And so shout out to the BSN network as well for allowing that to happen, man. But we're extremely grateful for what we're doing, not just basketball wise, but athletically and academically at EWU. And that's a testament to our president, Dr. A. Zachary Faison, and obviously our athletic director when it comes to athletics. But we're in the midst of something special. And what we're doing, you saw what football was able to do this past year. You've seen the success of baseball and softball and men and women's volleyball. And we're just trying to do the things they're doing, which is win conference titles and do some special things. And we think we're right. We're building that. We're right on the right path to get there. And you're a big part of it. I think when people hear your voice or saw you come down, it put us in a different light. So we're thankful and grateful for you and for Dave for being able to do that.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. So that is episode 12. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We're going to leave you guys with some sights and sounds of Tiger basketball. But appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll be back in another 2 weeks.
Look at my boy, 3-0 Glover. Late in the game, tie ball game. Give me 3 pieces right here. Yeah! Clutchness. Let's go, 3-0.
Here we go. We're back for the final 23 seconds of this basketball game. No shot clock. Morehouse will inbound from the far sideline, and the far baseline. They will have to go the length of the floor. 23.3 remaining. A 1-point lead for Edward Waters, and if they get this win at home,
This place is ready to explode.
we'll see. Morehouse will need to get the ball in the hands to Taylor or Lacewell. Well, Lacewell's not on the floor, so we'll see who gets it. We got some 2-3 zones.
Shot clock off, down to 10.
Gray takes the 3 off the side of the backboard. Corte saves it. Christian Bird has got it. Amari Floyd. And it's over. It's over.
Edward Waters
Sets the Morehouse Tigers, the #1 team in the SEC East, goes down in Jacksonville. What a victory! 79-78. Wow! The #1 team in the conference goes down to the Edward Waters Tigers.
This place is rocking.
This is the Huff effect. This is why you hire him and bring him to Jacksonville to get you a win like this. It has been an absolute pleasure.